Okay, we're back. So yeah, we're starting again. Sorry, I had a few little technical difficulties, but we're all right. So audio is working, and internet is not freaking out. Good, lovely. Right. So I'll just briefly, as possible, once again recap on what I did before. So I had to change each building so that instead of so what we did before is we would just cycle through the sprites to let you know. Actually, what was that before? That was Church 4, yeah. Cycle through the sprites as we change the building. But buildings are going to have a bit more to them than that, whether it's a flag or like even having several parts. Like I wanted for the orc fight pit for it to have several little, like it's got the sand pit on the floor and then it's got the stalls on the side to sit. So I had to go through each building and add these empty versions, which we switch on and off. And then what I wanted to do is give each building a shadow. So I created a little tool called the Shadow Maker, which is something I can put on a sprite, which will basically make a shadow, rotate it, and then I kind of manually find that shadow within the scene, grab them all, and sort out the sprite renderer to be shadow-like, to be transparent with the, I don't know what you call that, like I call it white render. It's just a way I can get the shape of the thing without the color. And then, yeah, put the color of that to black, black semi-transparent. And yeah, then I just did the same with the trees and the bushes. I literally just did that now and it worked. And yeah, so then we have shadows and we have that addition to the buildings. Yeah, it was funny. I was telling the story about this little funny script where I say, basically, if I don't have this repeats infinity because it creates a copy of itself, which then creates a copy of itself and so on. So we say, and even with the old new one inside, so it's awkward. But then what we do is we make sure to switch that off for the new version before it can live for a frame. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, we got that, and now we have all the shadows in the scene that we want. And I think it's a nice addition. Just kind of really helps make this scene look a bit less basic than it is. But we do have a couple issues because I've always left a gap on the edge of the sprite, but at this resolution that gap is actually noticeably big, so you can actually see the shadow under this building and so on. So we'll have to do a bit of editing there. Maybe that's the thing to do. So we'll make one of these, and yeah, we'll just go through each of those buildings and make sure they're actually touching the floor. Bases, and of course we have a lovely file structure here. Ironwall Road, no, Ironwall Bases. Buildings. What did I call it? Ironwall Buildings. Right. Yeah, so each of them is not actually quite on the floor. And I put this little grass thing to kind of... It kind of looked good when I did it. And it still does. It's just I don't think that's the right way to get that effect, because it just leads to all kinds of like other issues that can happen. You know, which the lesson here is, don't come up with shit to try at the end of the day, and then just do it. At the end of the day, you should only ever be doing like monkey work. You shouldn't be making any decisions. You have to take off your producer and director hat and just do basic shit. So yeah, we'll go through now and just on every single one of these, just delete this grass bit. It did look good, but if we want this effect, we're going to have to achieve it another way, because this isn't the way. And we do actually need them to all be on the floor, which, as I've mentioned, occasionally, for some reason, Unity interprets that in a funny way, and we end up with a little bit of the sprite sheets kind of overlap. It's almost as if when you're zooming in and out on a sprite renderer, the edges of the sprite editor bounds wobble. So you things kind of end up over. So I always, as a rule, I've always kept I decided to always have everything never touching the edges, always just off the edges on a sprite sheet. If it's a sprite sheet, but I think I need to find a better way around that. Because I think that's to do with like the wrap mode, or wrap is a mode. What is it? It's like, we'll find it. It's on the sprite editor. If I click on the sprite, it will have it there. And I think that's actually the solution to my problem. So I don't have to put things 1 pixel away from the edges. Okay, I'm going to need to do this for both layers. I think there is a way to do it for both layers. This is a bit of a pain. This is taking longer than I would like. Anything to take, really. I could there's probably some kind of, like, if I could just take everything. You know what? If I reduce the scale of this, there's probably a clever way I could do it without having to go through each of them. But we're sort of almost there, so let's plow on. And I guess these should all be like, again, like maybe the thing to do is not actually to have all of these together, but we could have like a series of stalls. Because if we have the shadow under that, that's going to look dodgy, isn't it? Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Let's see. This one, I guess, would be directly on the floor. So yeah, we might need to be a bit cleverer in some places. But yeah, the lesson is not to experiment with shit at the end of the day. Experimenting is good for like the beginning of the day. What is going on here? Why is that? And this bit, just now that I've noticed it, is missing a pixel. Almost there, almost there. And yeah, this bit isn't actually flat at the bottom. But I think things should generally sit at the bottom. I mean, I could go into the sprite and actually lower it by like a tiny bit in each case, but we've kind of started this. Let's see where we end up with. So yeah, making orcs. We haven't started that yet. But it's important to get any of these details with the first run of stuff before, and just kind of like stress test it. So you do, you know, you start actually putting it into the scene and trying different things, and then you kind of find all the shit that you missed, and then it's a good thing to have that all set up before we start on the next run of things. Or be better at planning, I don't know. So we're looking at sprites, bases, build iron world buildings. Okay, so that should have dealt with that problem. So that we've no longer got things floating up. What's going on with this? So that's one. And the shadow. Okay, so the shadows should all have the same. Except if shadows always appear behind, then they'd end up like being behind the buildings behind them, which isn't quite what we want. But why is it only this one that it appears in front? I think as long as it's moved a tiny bit, I think that will like depend on, I think that's a dice roll, because that is actually in the same spot. I wonder why that's the only one that appeared in front. Anyway, never mind. So we're back. And I think this looks good. And the next thing we want to do is draw the orc bases. So yeah, we added shadows to all trees, rocks, and that stuff. So the Goblin Trader. So we actually have it here. So we're using the old one as a template. And yeah, let's also put these ones on the ground. And I just had to fix the outline. So I think that was me saying I wanted to add an outline, but we're not doing that anymore. So yeah. It's just because there was one grassy outline left. I think that's what that note was pointing to. And then finally this one. And I actually haven't done... So this needs to be the same as this. But... So I would need to do like... I haven't actually figured out what the fourth one is. Goblin. That's why I've got Goblin Trader 4 out of 4. So what does that look like? How do we expand this to look more impressive, to be a tier 4 version of the Goblin Trader? Fuck, I don't know. So with the human one, we've just made this central building a different one. I guess. But tent kind of doesn't feel like an upgrade. But the orcs, they're not going to build a building just for this. Like maybe a wagon, like a trading wagon. Is that what I'm looking for? Trading wagon. Crimson Desert is the one that comes up. Medieval trading wagon. Okay, and what would like a goblin version of that look like? Or is there like a simpler thing I can do? I just want to imply a market. Goblin Trader. I mean, maybe I'm being too lazy here from the beginning. You know what? Let's move on to one of the other ones, because I was pretty clear on the other ones. So the arena is not a simple 1, 2, 3, 4. The arena has a pit of sand. So let's get back to visualizing this. So we switch off Ironwell. Switch on War Camp. And that's starting to look nice already. Yeah, you can see the grassy edge there. Yeah, the middle one looks like it's floating above. So we would either have to keep them separate or just have them all at the same layer, which is a bit annoying. Okay, wagon. I mean, wagon just feels like a whole different thing. I kind of can't be bothered to draw a wagon. Couple wheels thing with an open thing. Like, yeah. Let's see. The other ones on the list are arena. So then here's our arena where we have our sand. And then I drew that, but that looks awful. We're going to need several little like seating for the arena. And the curvature should be more like this. And with the orcs, even if it's like a structure, I generally like to keep, like, not use the line tool, but just do it with the pen tool by hand. So we're looking at like just nothing huge, just little rafters. And then the stairs are like, and the like. How much detail do we go into here? That line's awfully straight. I'm gonna do that again. Sort of don't expect the stairs to be straight either, and then that gap is much bigger than this one, but we might have to fix that. I'm gonna do this again. Gap has to be the same. I think 3 little row of these rows is enough, and it's wood, but we should have coloured that in first. Save myself a couple clicks. This line is really dodgy. And then having like little, because we sort of imagine that these are, should it be this shape on the outside? Like I can kind of fill that in with black and it looks a bit better. Just kind of giving the edge of this more of a stair shape. And then this has some kind of like you can see, you know, like we never really had this at my school, but I've seen in like American high schools in movies, they have these rafter things made of like metal poles, and you could probably make one out of wood. And yeah, they sort of look like that. I mean, at this point, this is just a mash of lines, but it just kind of implies the structure that makes this thing work. So yeah, we'll do that again. Oh. Need to do it in a way like if it's too straight, I just do it again. I want it done by hand. I want to have that organicness of the free hand. And yeah, I guess I'm just doubling up that line. I was trying to give it like a shape of stairs, but I don't think we need that level of detail. And then just some kind of random black lines in here, I guess, just to give a sense of like beams and structure. Of course, I should have colored that before doing the lines. Never mind. And then what we'll do is we'll take our darker color, and we kind of need to do the tops. And I guess there's no like, I'm just trying to think of like a sort of cleaner or easier way to do this. Line tool. I mean, I could do some like cheeky stuff with like grabbing this shape and just kind of copying and pasting it above, but still that's not quite right, and is a fair bit of effort. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do like a fairly crude line tooling just to make this go a bit quicker. Yeah, that's quick and kind of works. It's like a very, very gentle implication of chairs, you know, or rafters, I guess they're called. It's when it's not, none of them are chairs, they're just big steps that you can sit on. But yeah, I think line tool does the trick here. Let's start from up here. Yeah. Okay, let's try exporting that and let's see what we end up with. We're going to have to completely redo the sprite sheet anyway, so not too worried about keeping things too tidy right now. And yeah, I mean, immediately that looks a bit better, I think. So this, yeah, it's rotated. It will need a shadow. I guess one of the issues is being able to see under these buildings. And you'll notice that when the camera starts moving, is that like, we're sort of like the bottom isn't actually pinned to the ground. It's not actually a 3D object. So yeah, I mean, it's funny all these things, because you sort of think if you stick a 2D object on something, then it just fits, right? Like, if it's not all touching the ground, it kind of ends up looking a bit weird. You can't just have a 90-degree object, you know? Why is it making me select that? But I think that is alleviated a lot by not having any texture there, so you can't actually tell that the ground underneath it is changing perspective in a weird way. It's not reacting how you expect it to react. Come on! What is it? What even is that? It's the highlight. Yeah, we're not using you anymore. Go away. And I don't know if you can see these, but Let's just get rid of any of these tufts of grass that are near this. And then camera. How are we looking? Yeah, it's harder to tell now. And yeah, especially if we have like little dudes fighting here. We've got our scale of the little dude there and just like a bunch of little dudes on the rafters. So that would be level 1. And then like level 2 and 3, it's like we continue the rafters basically. So we have like... Just getting a rough sense of it at the moment. Because I think I'm going to have to do them on separate bits. Because they're going to need to be their own bits. So we kind of do 2... Or just 1 to start with, sideways ones. And we don't need this big old pancake anymore. And what does a sideways rafter look like? So first we would have like big old triangle visible. Is that at all the shape I'm going for? Again, anyone who's familiar with these streams knows that I do not call myself an artist. But yeah, presumably they would still have three lines. Is that right? 3 lines? Yeah, making 4 pieces. And they may feel tight, but I suppose that's to be expected. And so we should have done this earlier, but actually I can do this and then this to color all of them. Nice. Okay, and then what we would have is like very obscuring. See, the thing is that's from above. So what would it really look like? I think I should take this, make a new one just so I don't break anything, move it up. And then I can picture with the aid of this, what would this look like from the side? I mean, essentially we are just talking about a very... And it will be weird because it would be like, who's sitting there? So level 1 is without the thing. Level 2 we have the... So will just be a few dudes standing around. Level 2 will be with this thing so people can sit and watch. Level 3, I'm thinking, is having people at the side watching it. And I guess we can kind of continue, while it feels weird, we can kind of continue that perspective. So this would be like this. Or at least there's not going to be space for it. That's one way of looking at it. The other way is like, what if we didn't bother with sideways ones? Because you wouldn't really be able to see anyone on them anyway. They would have to stack in a weird way too, like the spectators. So what if... So we have no seats. Yeah. And then we go like 1 is no seats. Seats, 3, something, 4. Now would then have like a little tower on top of this for like chief seat. So then what could we change from 2 to 3? I feel like it could be something within the arena itself, like maybe some kind of spikes or like weapons or something like that. Some feature to add to the sand itself. So like, or then we go bigger maybe. I think that's a good size though. I think that's fine. We shouldn't mess with the size. I guess we could go bigger. So then we would go from, and again we can mess with each piece individually, but let's say this was about twice as big. No, let's say it was about 1.5 times as big. And then the seats would also be like bigger, but then I don't want to have to draw this again. But you could sort of have 2 rows of seats now. I would want to redraw them. And I would want to kind of angle them a bit maybe, but maybe not. It kind of works in this crude way. But yeah, then this guy's like not even looking at the arena, so it doesn't quite work. Let's go ahead and draw. Let's just start drawing some things. So I think that's like the pit. That's level 2 with the rafters. And I want to kind of go straight to level 4. And yeah, where we'll have like a sort of another little tent basically. So we'll use the same rules with the tent. So it'll be like a big, like this thing of using bones to, is that right? Be a bit smaller. In fact, they should probably not be black outlined. Do we add another skull or like another little? Because it's very small. No, I think we'll just have. And then that's. You see, we've just got this little viewing platform for like the chief to sit. And we will actually probably have a little chief standing there or something. So that will be from our character. Like so the fun of that bit really comes from the character standing in it. So we'll do a similar thing. We don't have as much space to work with, but we can. And I think for like stage 2, we can have like little sort of fiery bits, like little torches, which of course will actually have little fires on them, with little smoke coming off. Because I think animation is the important thing here, or like having more little animated things. I think is fun. Okay, so that's something, and yeah, I think it will look good because the chief's standing in there. we can't, nor we don't need to, nor should we really add any more detail than that, just for the sake of it being detailed, you know. Yeah, so I'm just experimenting with. Does that look? No, I think it's fine. Maybe one. Still just really experimenting here. Yeah, that kind of, for some reason, that works. All right. So that's 2, and then we would have little fiery bits. Of course, orcs would definitely put fire features on wooden structures. Of course they would. They wouldn't think twice about that. And because we're going to be having the fire animated separately, we shouldn't actually draw the fire here. So we have to use our imagination a bit. And then yeah, that's on here. So we go pit to pit with viewing platform. Viewing platform now has fiery bits. Viewing platform now has fiery bits and a spot for the chief. And that will be not the chief, but one of the chief characters just kind of standing there watching. And I could make that an incentive to make the chief character come from this building, which would be cool. I think it's when you combine the orc and the goblin, or the orc and the brawler. I don't know. Can't remember. So, castle, arena, and I guess we should start making that in the scene. So walk out buildings, and then everything changes. And let's set this up. So arena does not have a single sprite renderer that changes. This is the first one that I realized, like, I have to do this version thing. So we'll do version. We'll put we'll call this sand. Rafters. I think rafters is the word. Is it rafters? I don't know. Isn't rafters like the bits above the stage? Let's call it seats. Okay. And the seats, which should have a shadow, and I can just do that manually. All the while learning more ways as I go to just kind of be more organized in the future. See, that looks funky because we can see the shadow, but then that kind of works as well. I don't know. I'm not going to question it. We could just raise this a little bit, and then we don't have that problem anymore. Yeah, I guess that's fine. We'll have to be. We can be manual a little bit because we're not talking like hundreds of buildings here. We're just talking dozens. So if we have to go through and manually move each shadow so that it works a bit better, we can actually do that. It's not a big deal, you see? That kind of fixes that. But we still get the effect of the shadow, but we don't have it poking out of the middle, and it doesn't. It looks like it fits there. So it's a bit better. Okay, so version 1. So that's seats. Let's call this seats shadow. Yeah, just as I go really learning ways that I could make my life easier in future, like, yeah, shadows, and just kind of maybe just from the beginning have a script that can create a shadow by copying a sprite rather than sort of doing that in my weird runtime / non-runtime way. Okay. So version 2. Version 1 has no seats. Version 2, 3, That should be the next one. No, did I not export this? Did I export this by accident? Download. Okay, we'll need our little fires. Do I still have the like? Will that work? The fire that I have. Did I make a prefab for it? I mean, I should use them anyway because they're animated, and it's just easy. It will be easier to take one from here. So, fire. It is a prefab. Okay, yeah. Let's just get more of those then. Animation. Yeah. Don't know why I have that. Animation. Why would I need that? Well, let's just leave it anyway. It's fine. We can always take it off the prefab if it's not needed. So back to base, and we will get our prefabs, bases. Where is it? Oh no, map. Fire. And does it work here the same? Let's see. Like, does it seem right? So this would be inside that. So and I guess because the size is already done there, this should just be 1. Just like the sand and the seats are at 1. Yeah, good. Okay, the size is all wrong. So we should probably make another fire specifically for when we have a fire. We do have the fire pit coming from the orcs. But this does feel a bit big, doesn't it? It does feel a bit big. Let's just use it for now, and we'll make a note to change it just so we can actually get this done. Scratch it off the list. And then version 4 still has, so yeah, we don't need that anymore. Version 4. Doesn't actually matter what they're named as long as they're in the right order, but I think it's nice to be consistent. And then so version 4, the seats are finally upgraded to the version with the dude. And we should have our actors, and we should make our actors function. So first we need our track. So we need all of this. We need our NPC stuff. And it should automatically turn these into orcs, just as I have it now. But let's say we wanted to have one that was part of a building. And NPC extra. Oh, it's quite simple, really. Where do we NPC track? So this NPC extras and extra character pool. Yeah, that basically gets upgrades from our friendly faction. and it does it based off a list of ones that it's going to do it to. And it does it to all of those. It does it to all of the ones that are in that transform. So we take it out of the transform. And I guess what we can do is just manually change this to the one that we want. Would we want it to like change randomly to different orcs and goblins? I don't know. But let's get green. Actually, I quite like. I like the idea of it randomizing. Okay. Thing is, we're doing that from a central controller, but if we've got this exception of like, yeah, for each, it's because we would want to add this to that. So NPC character pool. Change NPC extra sprite. So where do we actually call that? For each NPC and NPC extras. Okay, yeah, so they change when they move there. But if it's not in this list, if it's not in that transform, it's not going to do it. So what would be the best way to do this, I wonder? I mean, I could easily just make a new script that randomizes it to an orc. I can do that very, very easily. I could take random ones from in here and just move them there. Like, I could just make a new one that is an arena dude and basically copies and pastes that script. That might just be the easiest way to do it. Arena patron. Or like, could we use this for standing characters? So basically I need to dislodge these. So this thing of change NPC extra sprite. So first of all, this should be public, because we would want to be able to do this from outside. So I can change, and then NPC extra character pool. Yeah, so I could have because yeah, if it's taking from the same pool of characters, so then we say NPC extra, add component. Wait, so that's the NPC extra. So we don't just do it because like we've got the one for, so yeah, for in NPC extras. Because we've got extras who walk and extras who will stand still in a spot. And it's going to do it for any who are in this list. But if they're not in that list, it won't do it for them. So we just say, we just want this guy then to yeah, so on NPC extra, bool stationary, or bool walker equals true. So all NPCs are walkers. Yeah, and then when we move them, where did I put that? NPC extra director. So we should only, if so yeah, we want to be in the update method. If, okay, yeah, and then here, if NPC extra dot walker, then do all of that. Otherwise, don't. And then when we make our list, we do actually want all of them. We clear that, and then we go into the NPC extra and at start. So we need that list. So we could just make this static. I mean, I don't know if this is like a wrong way. I don't see how the programmers do it, but this just seems to be the easiest way. Make that a static list. There we go. NPC extra director dot this. So when we start, we add that to the list. So it's going to have all extras, except it's only going to be controlling, it's only going to be walking the extras that are marked as walkies. And so this one is not a walker. This one should just stay still, but it should still randomize which character it is. And so we can have, we sort of imagine that these guys are sitting and watching. And maybe these guys are, maybe there should be a couple who are fighting, of course. And then I don't need to manually change each one. I think the NPC extras already kind of manage their shadows. And then we can think about having some like idle animation on them. Should make sense, right? Animate a transform. Do we have animation walk? So we could just tell them to be idle. How do we do it for the NPC extra director? Animator. How did we do it? Why are they bouncing here? When did we tell them to bounce? When did we do that? When do we make them bounce? Do I not touch the animator? Did they just animate anyway? Let's see. So I guess these guys are just going to be bouncing. Okay. I should probably add a like animation staggerer so they're never just bouncing at the same time. Okay, well let's try that. So this is an NPC extra, but it's not on the track, or it's not a walker. We could probably just like ask who its parent is, or only do that to ones that are within under a certain parent, rather than having a separate list. Okay, well we've gone to Ironwell, and we've not switched off the orc place. And actually, we need to make the orc place temporarily available. So spaces. Where do we decide? Iron welder unlocked. Yeah, so we go orc camp unlocked. So we'll have to switch that. We'll have to change that before we release the game. But this should mean that we can click on the orc base. Okay. What did we call that base? Orc camp. Okay, let's call it orc space camp. Or do we call it the war camp? No, let's call it orc camp. I mean, would they have a name for it? I don't think so. I don't think they. Do you name forward? Do you name camps like this? Okay, transformers out of bounds. Which one? Okay, so yeah, because I've started like they all need to be set up like that. Update building. And then yeah, it needs to be like the building level. I need to remind myself. Okay, so the chief's tent should be at the top. Buildings, castle, version 1. Because yeah, at the moment it is like this. Wait, what's this sprite renderer? Does the castle have that too? It does. It's got an empty sprite renderer. Okay. Do they all have that? No. So Chief's tent, barracks. Yeah. So these all need to be set up in the same way. So Chief's tent has an empty object called version 1, in which this alone lives with its shadow, but we'll sort that out later. Oh, and I'm in play mode, so none of that's actually happening. So switch this on. And then I think one of the things is making sure that the buildings. So castle is level 1. Chief tent should also be level 1. And actually we need to kind of do this part. So I am actually going to copy this. And we'll call this orc camp. I know I'd already done some of it, but it's actually easier just because a lot of it's changed. So we go orc camp. So castle becomes orc camp. No, castle becomes chief's tent. Forgive me. sort out the sprites later. And then it basically, we just need parity. So barracks becomes, let me get my mirror open so I've got all my orc building names handy. So we'll just go one by one. So barracks becomes primal forge. We actually need all these up here as well. Should I call fire pit bonfire? No, I think fire pit sounds better. Better to have it without the space, and then I just change the one instance that needs the space being the name. Blacksmith becomes grog bar. Doesn't really matter which is which. Slop house. Luckily that's one word. Then wizard tower's single word is to also become slop house. What did I just do? Did that wizard tower slop house? Why did that? Just change the ones up here. So stupid. Yeah, the late. So I've been starting after lunch lately because yeah, I had some freelance work, and God, I have to because I do some programming on another project, and I have to get my head around another project, and then I have to kind of flush my RAM so I can start something else. And oh yeah, probably not quite at my best. Not my best in the mornings, I think. Right, slop house arena. And then finally, market can be goblin trader. Should be like trader with that A at the end, but I decided against that. I'm going to change it because the ranger is actually spelled like ranger with an A at the end, and it just kind of looks weird, so I'm going to change it back. And brawler, that's kind of that's kind of the style choice, and I don't think it's that good. I think I'd rather just have it spelled properly. Okay, and so now we need each of these at the root. So chieftain, and let's just have it in the same order. Chieftain, cheat sheet, primal forge, fire pit, grog. Would you call it the grogger or the grog? You just call it the grog. So yeah, grog bar. Arena. I was thinking of actually, if we're talking about the final form of the Goblin Trader, I was thinking of making a little cheeky RuneScape reference of having the Squeal of Fortune, maybe. He just has it's gambling. I think I'm gonna write that down. I think we should have that. Yeah, Wheel of Fortune. I think that would be funny. And also, like, it fits aesthetically as well, otherwise I wouldn't. Okay. We are making progress. It is happening, I promise. Right, so, where were we? We've got that. And then we need to go into sprites, because this is how I've decided to do it. And they all live in here. So we can just find castle. So these are buildings, and yeah, we don't actually, do we even need to store the sprite? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. We could have it in the encyclopedia, but I don't think we need it in the encyclopedia. The buildings are just, you click on them and it opens a panel. We don't need to see the building anywhere else. I mean, it couldn't hurt to keep it. So it's kind of hard for me to delete this, because then I'll have to click and drag it again. But we don't actually need it. So I'll keep it there in sprites. But here in buildings, because it's got 4 sprites, but it doesn't need that anymore. So how do I go about that? Like, so I can sit and think about it for a bit. It's like, okay, so we don't actually need to store the sprite of a building, because instead of swapping the sprite of the sprite renderer, we're going to be switching versions on and off. That's how we're going to do it. I can delete these. No problem. We can delete these ones. Yeah. So, am I certain of that? Because if so, then the answer is I can actually... So for one thing, we get rid of this. Do I comment it out or do I get rid of it? Would we ever need a picture of a building? Like... I don't think so. It could be like, oh, where is this stat coming from? Oh, it's coming from this building. But you could do that in another way. And we would have to build, for the arena, we would have to build a sprite that contains all the bits. So we'd have to like basically take a picture. So yeah, I'm actually going to cancel that. But I'm not going to unattach all of these, so that there will be some vestigial mess. And then... I can do this manually. Like, I'll comment it out. I think I could do a clever find and replace. If I ever write anything .sprites equals new, then before that anything, put 2 comments or just delete the whole line anytime you see that. But in the time it has taken for me to think about how to do that, it's done. So we don't actually need to keep track of sprites. We turn on the game object based on the level of the building. We don't need the sprites, okay? That saves me a bit of time right now. And I guess I can just do like little descriptions, or at least just write placeholder. I mean, unlocks achievements for orcs. A place. I always say a place. A magical TP. Fire pit. Make big fire. Grog bar. For drinking grog. Getting into the headspace of an orc. Food. Arena. Fight in place. The green market. It's worse than the black market. Okay, so far so good. So that shouldn't give us any issues when we come in here. And then for the buildings that we do have left, we need to give them our new versions. So the arena has versions 1, 2, 3, and 4, which should all be turned off by default. I mean, you can have any set of them. These guys should be. Copy, delete those, paste, and that'll do for now. And then Chief's Tent should be version 1, and there should only be one version. And then the Goblin Market also. That was the shadow. Okay, yeah, interesting. Yeah, let's do that. Don't worry too much about names. I like to have the word shadow in there in case I can just write shadow up in the search and find anything that's a shadow. But otherwise the name doesn't really matter. Okay, so this should be version 1. So I had to do this for each of the existing buildings. A bit tedious, but it's not too bad. So version 1, version 2, and first I just make all the versions. And then I name them. I did have the word version copy pasted. Actually, it doesn't really matter what these are called, like I said earlier, but it's nice to have it named. Okay, and then this would be the next one up. And this one's, and I should grab the shadow at the same time. This one should be 2 up, blat blat, and then this one should be 3 up. Grab them both, blat blat blat. Okay, and then we can turn off most of these. There's something quite cute about how the orc camp is like right by the road. It feels a bit more accessible. That sand looks a bit too yellow, doesn't it? It looks like cheap vanilla ice cream. Yeah, where? Show me where. Update building trends. Okay. Current base dot names. So what's the issue? Yeah. So which building is that? Because it should be, if it's the same, castle version 1. Castle Chief's Tent version 1. Does it have to have? It's not Chief's Tent, it's Chief Tent. So what was it referring to? Let's see. Let's see if humans opens up. Let's see if it's a universal error, because I feel like I did things exactly the same, so it should work exactly the same. Okay, yeah, and we shouldn't have the orcs and the humans there. So what's going on? So we're not turning off the bases. So when we go, was it base manager? open, is it map? So we turn them all off first. So that's the main thing is, yeah, turn off the base that isn't on. Sun's having a play date. I can hear some people arrive. Okay. Okay, good. So that's switched off the orc one. Oh, what's happening here? Base manager. So they haven't connected to the base manager. Can I do this differently? I think other developers do this much better, but like, yeah, my base manager. So can I just have C? Yeah, we can. So each building container should not need to access base manager like that. We just go base manager.c, and the base manager makes itself available. I do find that weird because that can't be the sort of correct way to do it. That's just how I end up doing it. Okay. Because the thing I want to test next is like actually exiting a base. So yeah, let's go into humans, exit, takes us back to the map. That is quite nice to see, and it just kind of lets me know that it is all working. Okay, so what? So current base. What was it? Basis transform. Find current base. Name 0. I don't understand, so I'm gonna have to do. It's just like I'd like to be able to understand. I can easily fix this. It's just why? Okay, so when we update building, and I think the problem is happening in here. So because is it because? Yeah, so on save load, so I think that's on stuff. Buildings. Is it because it still thinks... No, it shouldn't do. I was thinking, does it still think that... Does it still think that the base is the building, the orc building? Because I feel like it's having a problem with chief tent. But as far as I can see, I've done everything exactly the same. Orc camp, chief tent goes into version 1, which has the sprite render inside and the shadow. So how is that at all different? So okay, that's. I mean, it just annoys me. I'm like, what's going on? Why is what? How? So we're going to find out that the name is indeed the chief tent, just to confirm my suspicion there. And I just really puzzled and annoyed as to why this is giving me issues. Arena. Is it that the arena is the wrong level? But okay. So let's look at the arena. Version 1, 2, 3, 4. Buildings. Oh, I know what it is now. So leaves. Is it in leaves? So yeah, we need to have these all set up, otherwise it will default to level 0. Okay, yeah, let's do that. I'm not going to copy all of them. I'm going to copy one of them because it's basically the same. And then I can just do find and replace church. So yeah, we do need these to exist. We don't need to be able to access them right away, but they need to exist. So Ironwell. Orc camp. Chief tent. Very creative names here. And then we have a bunch to do with that, yeah, and each of them comes from a building, and we just need at least, so we don't need heal for now, we just need each building to have its like core upgrade path. So there's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. God, I think I got that wrong. Well, that's pressing space and Control V. I don't know, lost track of which bit to count on. Oh no, I think yeah, there's 5, there's 6. Good, I did get it right. Right, so church becomes primal. Oh, for God's sake. When did I? Okay, that should do it. Right, so church becomes Primal Forge. Is there a better way to do this? I think this is the best way. Fire pit. I don't think there's any reason to not use the spaced version of the word. I think they all end up being the spaced version of the word. Okay, grog bar, church. Slop house. Yes, it's not the most exciting shit in the world, but to me, it's exciting because it's shit that needs doing. The only pause I have is there a faster way to do it? Is there a better way to do it? But if not, then I'm happy. Happy just going through the pain. Right, so that should mean that they've all got their, like, I don't know, what do you call it? You call that configs or something, right? That's what professional programmers call it. Got all my configs, or got all my variables, I guess. Something like that. So let's see if we can open this area without crashing, and that'll be a good start. And it might be nice to see, we might get to see a bunch of random orcs walking around, which would be fun. Oh. Okay. So one of these has not led to a building. So I probably put one of the names wrong or something. Primal Forge, there's the one. So Primal Forge. Yeah, forgot to put the space. I knew it would be something like that. So it looks like we're probably not going to get to drawing most of these until tomorrow. In fact, I'm kind of like, I don't want to start drawing too much stuff right now. Why? Building.name. So it hasn't found a building. Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Like if you... Wait, no. Alright, I'm going to go for a quick smoke while that compiles. I'll be right back. test that then. Goblin Market. Did I call it Goblin Trader or something somewhere? Goblin Trader, that's right. Trader sounds better. So yeah, these are silly mistakes, but you know. The time it would have taken me to maybe plan it a bit better is just... I think I'm probably breaking even. And there was always the chance that I got it right, which would have meant a gain in time, so... Okay, well that's not the right faction of units. They should have all been changed to... Oh no, they're only changing once they go in and out of a building. Okay, there's some issues with that, but you know, that's good. Okay. Obviously they're walking into fake entrances and exits, and I don't know what these guys are doing. I don't know what the trouble is there. We'll have to see. But at least we have... And yeah, they're just kind of bouncing. So how can I tell them why are they bouncing? Because they're using the same animation controller as the one in game, which I think just... Oh, it's that bloody thing. Okay, so I need to restart Unity because otherwise I can't see the animation grass. It's just something that happens after a while occasionally. I just want to play games and design them. I don't want to make them. It feels like forever since I've actually just played this game. But we're building this progression system, and when I play the game I want to play it with that progression system intact so that I'm getting a true idea of what the game is, right? Okay. So if I grab this guy over here, we should have so it's just never being told to stand still. So how do we transition that? We go is walking equals false. So at the moment is walking is true. So that should be a simple matter of, so we go to the thing that controls them and say, for each one of the ones in that transform. I mean, this isn't the most optimized way to do it, but we can just say npc extra dot animate. Do they have an animator attached? Dot get child dot transform dot get child 0 dot get component animator dot set bool is walking false, and then that should mean it switches back to idle. Set bool is walking false. These would be true, and then the other ones, and I should really make a prefab, but this one should be set to not walking. So this guy should be animator is walking, and I can just manually set that there. And then those guys should just be doing their idle animation. It would be nice for them to be fighting. But let's kind of come back round to that. Let's get everything else done. But yeah. Yeah, they should be doing some kind of fight loop animation. Or at least they should have weapons. Okay. And what are these guys doing? Why are they not... Why are they not doing anything? So... NPC extras. Where do we have our... So why is this one not moving? Why is that one not moving? Why do these guys just stop? So which are the ones that are actually working? Odd. Okay, so that one is actually functioning, and then goes and gets changed and turns into a different one. But they should be getting changed at the beginning anyway. And what's the difference? Why are those ones working but not these ones? So 5 and 4. Is it because I think I just need to like reset because they were copied from like a live version of the scene, so maybe I just need to reset the need to reset them basically. No, those ones are just stuck. Why are they just stuck? That's really annoying. Why are you just stuck? Why did... Yeah, I think I got rid of this. For God's sake, just wanted to check a couple things. Come on. NPC extras, transform. Okay, because we turned that into a static list, so we can't see it. So they should be all adding themselves. I just feel like there must be some kind of silly thing. Because the NPC extra adds itself to the list. So are these even? Are their timers moving? Very frustrating. Don't know why. Don't know why it's playing out like this. Okay, so what is it about that one that works but the others don't? Did it need to have been added to the list? But it should be there. So, but the timer isn't going down, so it must not be in that list. Is it because it's got no targets? No, it's got some targets. So why isn't it? So it's not in this list. So that way that I added them to the list like doesn't work, because I think they're like adding on start. What if we added them on awake? Would that fix it? Because I feel like it's like adding some to the list and then clearing it. So if I add them on awake, it should happen before any start method. Okay, now none of them. So it's because they're getting added before, so if anything, it would have to happen after. God damn it. So what, they're happening at the same time? So basically I have to find a different way to add these to... so this shouldn't be a static list, which is going to create a bug here. Okay, so where do we... Should I just add them manually? So then we go... So bloody annoying. Come on, just... Does it even need to be in the list? I think I'm being really crap today. I think it doesn't even need to be in the list. NPC extras. If walking is true, otherwise do nothing. But then what else do we do with NPC extras? So then we would just, I think earlier I had a bit of script that was like, there's that. Yeah. Okay, that's more like it. Obviously, we don't want them walking inside each other, but this is much more like it. Okay, but then what we haven't done. Yeah, they shouldn't be walking across the map like that either, but that's probably something to do with their targets not being cleared. And I think that's because I copied it from an existing scene, but what we can do, void start targets.clear, and I hope, oh god, yeah, let's do it in here then. I think that's what was causing that. Oh, for God's sake, no, it's fine. Just... Okay, yeah, now they're coming back to the road before finishing their thing. Okay. So yeah, this works. Obviously, that looks weird, but it's working as I'd expect it to. They're just walking into invisible building spots. And then we do want those guys to be animated. God, it's just so much. Just could this not have been an arena? Could this have just been like an armory or something? And then we just don't have to do any of this shit. Right, so these guys, we would want to simulate them fighting each other. Also, we do want to update and, what was it? Change NPC extra sprite. And then, and then we wanna update that. Can we? Because then how do I, if this is static, can I not just, that I find that annoying. Like, why can't I just, like, it's on the script, just let me reference it. It's like, no, I can't because that's not static. It's like, well, just access it anyway. Grow up. Yeah, no, that should work. So then NPC extra goes, it's gone, probably like this is just ended up being quite bad code just because of how it's not really like, I mean, a lot of it is I just want this different, I want to have dudes standing there being like doing an arena. Like, what's the best way to show an arena if you can't draw is to actually have the dudes fighting. Oh, for God's sake, it's not even open. Oh, for God's sake. Yeah, so like, so the quick way, like, a lot of my problem here is that I'm trying to reuse things. So you know that coding thing, which is don't repeat yourself. That's like a sin. And I'm trying to not repeat myself. So I'm trying to use this. What is going on? Why? Why did you get so big? Why did it get so big? Oh god, no. Okay, fine. Screw it. Just undo all of this, like, because. Oh no, we don't have to go that far. But like, yeah, no. Let's undo all of this because like this worked fine, and I think just so that's an extra who walks around, and I think for these ones that stand around, I just want like a whole different thing. We don't need this walker thing. I can just set that animation manually. Like, we could do like a game find with game object doc tag. The thing is, if I tell them to, yeah, why can't it just set its own thing? Is it because the pool has not been set? NPC extra character pool. Okay, so for these ones, I need to clear their targets. And I need to set them. Yeah, why did it... is it because it's always on the transform or always not on? Okay. So that does need to just be left on. And I need to turn it off on the ones that I don't want it on. And then, so this is like, no, this isn't an NPC extra. We don't want any of that noise. They're not going to be walking anywhere. And this one in particular, like I would just put a different script, which is like arena fighter or arena spectator. So we just don't have any of this nonsense. But we can still, like, we could just manually keep those. I kind of want to move on. So like, yeah, we've got 2 goblins, and it would be quite easy for me to put a script on this goblin, or just like, yeah, give it a weapon and just have it animate the weapon. So I'm going to just put that as a separate job because that's just turned out to be much more complicated than I thought it would be. So we just have a whole separate job, which is sort animation and sprite swapping of arena combatants and spectators. Where basically, even though we've already set up a thing to kind of randomly change the sprite, I think it might actually just be easier to, or just do this completely differently. Like this goes. I mean, we could just have something that, like, instead of this NPC character pool, we just put that on each NPC extra. And they are responsible for updating themselves. Start. Would it be start and on enable? And then that just goes on there because we can access it there. And then this list of NPC extras we don't actually need. But we can go NPC extra dot. NPC extra director, and then so we can say NPC extra dot change dot randomize character, and then so all of them will randomize their character, hopefully successfully, like without any issues. They'll randomize their character, and then this for each transform trans in, and that should be called road NPC extras road transform, because that's a different thing. Okay, then we've got that. I feel like I'm a bad programmer today, for sure. Okay, so then that sorts out the guys on the road. And then this is just, yeah, it's only going to do it to those ones in there. And then the other NPC extras can still be NPC extras. They'll still get a randomized start. But they're kind of free to not have to follow that track. So yeah, that is a better way of doing it. Ideally, you kind of like this should be handled from a central controller. That would be best practice, but I just haven't done it like that, I'm afraid. So this should mean that the two guys in the arena do in fact get randomized. Okay, what's wrong? Ah, yeah, we need to set that up. So Yeah. So this would be NPC extras road transform. Like that. So then if we want them to be like on the road, we just put them in that transform and then they should do that. And if we want them to not walk around, we just don't put them in that transform. And that should make things less complicated. Okay. Okay, and so now what we can do is find the now what we need to do is find the smoothest way to tell these guys to stop bouncing, like you're not, like to affect their animator. So like again, like I can think of an elegant way to do it that will take some time, or I can simply hack it out and just say if transform dot parent is equal to, and like God, let's be really hacky and say if the parent dot name is equal to NPC. Sorry about this. This is horrible. NPC extras road transform, and hope to God that I didn't make a spelling error there. What's wrong with this? Then is walking. So, well, no, if not, transform. So then we go transform dot get child. This is so hacky, but again, this is just for like background slop. So it, you know, I'm not really bothered if it's a bit hacky. Dot get child 0 dot get component animator dot is walking dot set bool is walking false. Because basically the reason it kind of ends up having to be hacky is because I'm trying to use the same animator controllers and the same object that I have in the main game for these characters. And I would like to utilize that animator and all of that stuff to, you know, to have them in here, so I'm not having to make them all over again. Okay, why didn't these guys randomize? Why did everyone else randomize but not these guys? Randomize character. So we are indeed... Wait, where are we calling that? Oh no, they should all be doing that. So where's randomized character? Randomized character. Okay, so that's where they change character. And so we need to actually just call this at start. We do call it at start. Oh no, I was calling it at start. Never mind. Alright, so... randomized character. Okay, that'll do it. Fingers crossed. This is so silly, all of this. But yeah, I mean, it's okay that it's just a bit of a hacky mess because this is just for these background NPCs. For God's sake, I should have just had an enclosed building that you can't see inside. Yeah, okay. No. So I can't... I have to go back to title screen. Keep making these like locks to sort of say, oh, if something's not working because we have to start at the title screen, then just go to the title screen. And I've written like 3 of those already. Okay. Okay, good. Obviously the scale is completely off, but they have randomized, and then but they're still jumping. Why are they still jumping? Parent.name is not that. So transform.getChild0.animator.isWalking should be false. So let's put a little hello just to make sure this is even happening. And also, when we randomize, scale, local scale. So this, so it works here for this because that's 0, but for this, because we have this root thing at 7. So I don't think we should be working with, but you can't do non-local scale. Transform.scale. So lossy scale is a thing? Okay, it's read only. So because that's in a bigger parent, it ends up being like much, much bigger. So I can't just give an absolute scale, like a global scale. I can't do that, really. Why can't I just do global scale? That would be useful. What would be the problem in just having the global scale? I just want global scale. So, this is so bloody annoying. I mean, maybe no. It needs to be in there because it needs to switch on and off with the object. And this extra has ended up being. I mean, again, I could just put its own script on that says, I just want it to be a global scale. I just want that to be global scale. That's all I want. Why can't I? But because it's in an object that has been blown up by 7, it gets blown up by 7. So the cheekiest, simplest way is just to put a ball on it and say if the parent is not that. So once again, check the parent. Such bullshit. Okay, yeah, so like... Unless... NPCs, and we'll have to fix this a bit. And then so this, I know that we were in the thing, so this would need to be... Oh, that's so annoying because that messes with the position. Why can't I just affect global scale? Why? I'm gonna ask Gemini, why can't I edit global scale instead of local scale in Unity? So, like, divide it by 7 then? Like, I'm just trying to think again. Like, I could really easily hack this together, or hack this together even more crudely. I'm just trying my best to do this in a non-spaghetti way. So we could have NPCs always in a different spot, or we just go like, course vector 3.1. Yeah, so like the size. I just want normal scale though. I want it to be based on like I just like why? Okay, so basically I'm gonna have to rethink this because I can't just get global scale. That's not gonna happen. I can't just get global scale. Um, so we could like deparent it. This is the hack. So basically, we take it out of the container, then modify the size, then put it back in the container. That's the most hacky. I mean, well, that's the way I can think of doing it without having to like completely rethink this whole thing. I mean, this is all an afterthought. This is all like, oh yeah, I want units to be walking around. Well, maybe if it's not too much trouble, let's do that. And then I did it, and it wasn't too much trouble, and we had people walking around. And now all I want is to just have these dudes standing in the arena, like doing stuff, and I want to be able to use the same code that I used for the walking around dudes as I use for these ones, because obviously that makes sense. They change character. We randomize the character so that it doesn't look the same every time. I think that's fun. I think that's worthwhile. It worked. It worked. In fact, if anything, they seem a bit smaller. So if this guy if one of these went backwards, can I just grab you? And can I just compare you in size to your friends here? Oh yeah, they're the same. So it worked exactly. Okay, good. Alright. So that little hacky bit of code, I might look at that one day and be like, why did we do that? What the hell is going on here? Surely there was a better way to do it. There it is. We take it out of the parent, and we change the size, then we put it back. Fine. It's an extra. It doesn't have to be brilliant. Okay. So yeah, we can get a random NPC there, and then and is it were they bouncing? Why are they bouncing? Okay, so I thought I put something on them which would tell the animator that it is now not walking. And that should have happened twice. Yeah, it's happened twice. And we set ball is walking to false. So why is it true? I could easily just make a script called stop walking that does that. That just tells it to stop walking. No, it must have been told to start walking again. So NPC extra director. No, there is no. Oh, for God! So why does it start walking? Fucking hell! Why does it start walking then? Like, why does it start walking? Am I turning it on somewhere else in code? But where? I think actually if we defaulted it to... Because I think for the main game it shouldn't be an issue. So what is setting it true then? Jesus. What is setting it true? Why? Ah! Okay. So let's try this. And then if we turned it off by default. Madness. And yeah, I'm kind of bothered by, like, I thought that so if I set this off, so no, you are not walking, and you are not walking, but it treats them as the same, which I find really weird. I thought that would kind of be on a but so the default is that they're not walking, and we're gonna say start walking if you are a walker, basically. That's what we're gonna do. And is that going to mess up the main game? Like, everyone's just going to stop walking? Because it should be fairly bloody straightforward. Like, they start walking when they start moving. So I'm surprised, actually, that they do just walk by default. So let's see. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, these guys are walking, the other guys aren't. And if we played a scene in the battle, how would that work? Alright, so what I can do is, what I feel like doing is putting a script on these, which is like... I mean, is it enough for them just to have weapons? Right? And should I just put that on the same script? So it'd be like... randomize weapon. So let's do public void randomize weapon. And really, they should be using the weapon of their character. No. Let's just have them using random weapons. So we have public sprite renderer, weapon renderer, and then we say if weapon renderer is not equal to null. So if we've given it a weapon, then for each, and then we just do a very similar one to this. So we're only going to need that. Weapon Random weapon. No, we're gonna do the. Wait, so where do we make our NPC extras character pool? I mean, I think that's almost redundant. Actually, we don't need the pool. But okay. So we go for each upgrade. If upgrade. Upgrade dot weapon. Upgrade dot is weapon. Because all this weirdness about like serializable static variables and not, and like I had a serializable private variable, which meant that sometimes, not all the times, sometimes it would read null as an empty. So it would read a weapon, and I would say this weapon is null. Occasionally, it would read that weapon as a weapon with no name, no sprite, no nothing in it, like a blank one, which is really bloody annoying, isn't it? It took me ages to figure that out, and in the end, I just reverted back to what I understand. But you know, I mean, it felt clever for a little bit. So we've got all of these weird balls, like, is it actually a weapon? Because it is not a weapon. And then I had to go through each upgrade and say, this upgrade is... I couldn't say, is the weapon of this upgrade null? Because sometimes when it's supposed to be null, it wouldn't be. So I had to do that. So we have upgrade.is weapon. If the faction matches our faction, if we actually have it. If... Oh yeah, because we stopped towers from spawning. And then we say, okay, yeah, so we need list weapon random weapons. I'm just gonna embrace the spaghetti today. Like, honestly, I'm trying my best to not spaghettify it, and I feel like I'm just slowing myself down by doing that. So random weapons add upgrade weapon. Although this should probably just be upgrade. Let's see, and then weapon renderer dot sprite equals upgrade dot equals random weapons random dot range and 0 random weapons dot count dot sprite. Okay, hopefully that is that going to mean they're going to be hitting each other with bows. We'll see. Okay. So if this guy has a weapon renderer, it's like I'm making a whole different bloody game just to make these two look like they're fighting each other a little bit. I think it's fine if they're just holding weapons. No, am I going to have them animated and have like health bars and stuff? Like, no. Let's give them weapons and let's leave it at that. So we create a sprite renderer. I find the easiest way to create a sprite renderer is always just to pop it in. So let's just say he's using a scimitar. Should probably use one of like the gnarly ones, but scimitar. Okay. God, that's at 45, and then the sprite renderer comes back. Oh god, that's so awkward. Okay, fine. So this would be... And then if I went to the animator... See, I'm gonna make a new animation for this. Like again, I could use the animator for the weapon that I have, but I'm just gonna like. Can I just put it inside so that it morphs with the sprite? And just have it there on layer 1. A little bit like pointed at the enemy. And then, so you can each have one of these. Like random bloody numbers, just needs to be approximate. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And then, so if we set that as your weapon, and then when we press play, they should randomize those weapons. Let's see how badly this goes. What now? Okay, no. So we can't start in this scene anymore, I don't think. What's this bit? No. Like just don't start in this scene anymore. I have to manually. Okay, well it didn't randomize their weapons, or I just got very unlucky. So, what's the problem? They do look better with swords, it's kind of clearer what's happening. I do kind of want them fighting each other, just doing the odd bash. Okay, so you have a weapon renderer. Oh, did I not... Yeah, randomize character, randomize weapon. God, yeah, this did turn out to be more complicated than I thought it would be, but you know, that's part of the game, isn't it? Thanks very much for joining, by the way. 10 viewers. That's big. Oh, and this guy happens to get the goblin one. Okay, what's the problem here? Okay, because I haven't made these windows. That's fine. That's fine. That's another thing. But I think the fact that, and I think it's funny that this guy got the goblin launcher as a weapon, so it looks like something went wrong, but it didn't. Goblin launcher is just a type of weapon, and it's so small. But yeah, like with the rafters at the back and a few more guys standing there. And then we can do something quite cheeky, like I could animate that. Although part of me is thinking, no, don't bother animating it. That's just gonna it's just going too far. Like I just wonder with this whole map thing, that's what been the latest thing, and the bases. Have I just gone off the rails? And just done way too much, whereas when I should just be this could all just be a skill tree. Just do away with all this stuff. Just do like Mega Bonk and have a menu, you know. Wondering if these if these spikes should be twice as thick as they are. But yeah, those two guys. So is it enough? Does it matter that these two aren't actively hitting each other? Or is it fine that we're just going to have like... Should we see that actually? Bases. And then we would have version 2. Oh, and they're like straight up there. That's pretty cool. So version 1 can go away. And we just got like, is that enough? Like it's static. They're not actually fighting each other. They could be like going backwards and forwards a little bit to like mimic circling each other a little bit. I feel like I'm just going way too far with that now though. Look, there's the arena that they're fighting. You can't see their weapons right now because I haven't done it for this version, but that does in fact look like an arena. Let's have them fighting. So I'm going to do this in the most simple, hacky way possible though. So I'm going to put so the first thing I might do is get rid of their animator transforms. Because we're going to do something entirely different. We're going to do something entirely different. So we would have like just kind of a randomized, make them swipe with their weapons. It feels a shame not to use the animation of the weapons that I already have, right? No. Let's stop here. Let's stop here. I think it's enough that they're both standing there with their weapons. Maybe they could be like, but I think if I let them be static, it's sort of fine. Oh, I do want to animate them. It's just it's going to be work. So where would I put the animator? And can I get away with... So I can turn these animators off. And I can add an animation, arena combatant. Oh, that's coming under the building animation, okay. Okay, and controller is called NPC Extra 2. Fine. Fine. So an arena combatant. Wait, so I can't... Yeah, there we go. And then, I don't know. And then it thinks I want the weapon render of that. No, so can we just remove this then? suppose we don't need that anymore. So we're going to have a separate prefab for... I should have done this from the beginning. Like, so I could have just left all of that how it was and then removed NPC extra component from these and then just basically copy pasted it but done it a bit differently. I could have done that and it would have been much quicker. By breaking the sort of cardinal sin of do not repeat yourself. Sometimes you can save yourself, actually. And I should have done that here. Never mind. Alright, so... they kind of... and I don't think they're actually going to hit each other, but I want them to kind of like... okay. That kind of works. I'm worried about how that would look on the other side. So if this guy has the same... so for one thing... oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. For one thing, why did I'm pretty sure I grabbed this to move. So we don't want to change position. It's this that gets moved. Then I just want to get a sense of like, how does this look at like half speed, at double speed? That's kind of more convincingly like potentially they're fighting. Okay. So then if I grab the other one, so I do actually want to reverse the scale of this one. Okay. What's wrong? Oh, for God's sake, just leave me alone. Let me play the scene. Okay, so why was that behaving strangely then? Okay, let me just... I don't know why that was behaving strangely. Well, thank you 9 viewers for being here. I really appreciate it. It's quite high for me, for concurrent viewers, so I appreciate it. It's not the most impressive stream though, sadly. What? Come on! Okay. Okay, so why... did this flipping thing not work at all? Or did it and I haven't flipped it? But yeah, that looks much better. They kind of at least look a bit like they're fighting. Okay, so back into the base, into the scene then. So why... oh, it's because the scale... it's because the size is being set. So it doesn't handle negative scale. So how could I tell it to flip? Oh, God. Like, we can just be like, if transform.local scale .x is less than... oh, hey, Willie, how's it going? Oh, you named your son Otis. Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool. That's blessed. I had a funny coincidence. My son, we got him some like secondhand school clothes. And then we took him home, and then we looked at the label of one of them, and it said Otis, and I'm like, that's mad. That's such a rare name. Yeah, good to see you. Thanks for joining. Having a hacky day today because I'm trying to do something quite simple, and I'm trying to do it in a way that uses what I've done before. But if I do that, that actually makes it more complicated, and I'm kind of frustrated with myself. And we're just doing these little annoying things to make this arena like actors work. Transform the local scale, then is less than x, then x is less than 0, then this is so hacky, but I think one of the lessons here is definitely like, look, sometimes hacky is fine. In fact, sometimes if you're going hacky, go full hacky. Like, so I should have just ignored. I should have just made a whole new thing that has nothing to do with MP, because this took me quicker to make than it is taking me to edit to make it work in different scenarios. Whereas what I should have done is just copy paste. Doesn't matter. There's that coding principle. They say do not repeat yourself, and I think it depends what you're making. Because if you're just making a one shot, like, not gonna have to come back to this simple copy pasting is fine. It's fine. And it doesn't matter if it's messy as long as it doesn't contaminate the rest of the project. So I should have just not used this NPC extra. I should have just made arena actor and not even tried to use any of the same code. Just bloody copy paste it. I would have been so much better off today, for sure. Okay, so now it should, if it's flipped, okay. I think it's just been reversed. Okay, so that was all just for one building, which is the arena, and now I'm tempted to like reuse this. So I want to say like, if I want to have more buildings, so like for the demons and the undead, I want to have more buildings where people are doing stuff. That might have all just been for this, and all of that just to get them sliding back and forward with a weapon, randomized character like that. I should have just kept that entirely separate from these other NPCs and just copy pasted the bits of code that I needed. But in order to make it work for both of them, I ended up creating all of these confusions that I hadn't considered and lost a lot of time, I think. But okay, here we are. That's clearly an arena where two people are fighting and it's quite fun. Okay. So let's go back in there and let's at least try to finish the arena. So we have version 1. What I want to do is take these guys and just clean them up a bit because they've got targets when they shouldn't have. Like their wait timer and all of that. Like it's just... Can I reset the component? Not really. I just feel like that could be reset. Okay, and we can say arena combatant. And this might come and bite me in the future. But I'm not going to bother with prefabs. I just want to keep the space. I'm just going to... We'll start fresh. So that's a normal one. So these guys need to exist in all the versions. I wonder if they could live outside of version then. They could just be here. No, they can't. Not by the way I've set it up. Could be like that, but not with the way I've set it up. So we'll just have one of those in each. And it's fine. They can just live there. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's a mess, but it's fine. And then we have spectator. So we would actually have some spectators in this one. So let's sort out these spectators. So, just that size is so awkward. Okay, and you're like 1. You know, there can be a few of them. It's fine. And then we'll take these 3. And while you generally should just do the flip of the sprite, I am just going to reverse it like that. So now it should look like there's a few people watching the fight. I think these guys can hang back a bit. Don't it? Like, I wish there was a way to like... Yeah, I don't know how it would do it, but just select sprite renderer, select the root object. Okay. Yeah. And then... what we'll do is we'll move these. So we'll take these same guys. So that's version 1. Version 2 looks like this. And the spectators now have chairs. So let's get them all... Let's get them all, like, at the right Z depth. Like that. I think that's about on. closest to 2 decimal points. That's fine. This isn't to my kid like talking with his friend. Why? This my kid's like, I'll be the monster, you be the. Okay, let's just bring these ones forward, or should I bring the other ones backward? No, let's bring these ones backward a little bit. Select the root object, please. Pull them back a bit. Okay. And let's grab these guys. So these guys are going to stay, basically, because... I mean, essentially, that's that then. So then version 3 will have all of these guys. Did we miss one? And they don't need to change. And then yeah, that stays the same. Except we will have here Chief Spectator, and he has none of this, and he is a chief. Sit there, and the sprite renderer, and I suppose the shadow is going to be green beans, because I spelled green beans wrong when I made that and never looked back. And we're going to find our chief. Pretty sure we just went past. No, is he at the bottom? There he is. Level 4 chief or level 1 chief? I think a level 1 chief will do. Okay, and there's our arena. That should not have taken all afternoon, but there we go. Arena. And we'll do the Wheel of Fortune thing, and we'll have it spin. Fuck it, let's animate. You know, let's get things animated. We need that fire animated. Animate. I mean, I think that should already work. It's going to give us version 1 because that's all we've unlocked, but we can just switch the other ones on. So it should turn that off and then turn it on again, and then I can just manually change it once I'm in the scene. So yeah, it's turned it off, and so we've got a warg with a meteor staff fighting against a goblin with a sword. Yeah. I mean, a warg with a meteor staff. Sure, why not? I mean, you can't zoom in, so you kind of want to see more of this, but you can't. I don't know why that goblin ends up being so big. I think that might be like that's actually his size, because it's a level 1 glutton. So yeah, level 1 glutton does look a bit weird. Doesn't look like a glutton because it just looks a bit weird. It just looks like a goblin that's been incorrectly sized. But it's because level 4 glutton looks like you can tell why he's big because he's fat. But so the first one needs to be fat as well. Okay, and yeah, so we can actually go ahead and say no. We've upgraded this. to level 2. I would kind of like to see more animation from them, but then we're kind of getting into this territory of messing with this. I don't think those fires feel too big. They kind of feel alright, actually. But we can probably do it again. A glutton with a boomerang versus a goblin with it. Is it always a goblin with a scimitar on the right? Is that a coincidence? It is always a goblin with a scimitar on the right. What has happened? Okay, why is it always a goblin with a scimitar on the right? Why is it not randomizing? Okay, randomized character. Why is that happening? So why is one of the arena combatants getting randomized, but not the other one? I thought I was done with this today. Jesus. Again, really like sometimes just copy paste. Sometimes just hack it together. Like if it's purely a visual thing in the background, like don't worry about optimization or any of that. Okay, so why isn't this one? So randomize character. So neither randomized character nor randomized weapon are working. Why? Why is that? So 2 is fine, 1 is not. What is different? So why is this one not changing? What a bother. Like, why is that one not changing? So we go if name is equal to arena combatant, not arena combatant 2, debug.log random character.names. And so why that is truly baffling to me. Why is only one of them getting randomized? It's very upsetting. Is it something to do with me having started the scene outside of start window? So why is it not giving me that then? Okay, because it's linked to the... That's so bizarre. I swear usually when I copy paste something... Is it because they had the same names? Is that why they encourage you not to use the same names? Because briefly they had the same names. So this guy is actually his sprite renderer is that sprite renderer. So why? I hate this sometimes. Why? Like, usually when I copy paste something, and like this, it will reference, you know what I mean? Like it usually would reference its own bits. Okay. All right, so rather than doing that for each of them, I'm just gonna this is gonna be easier. God, just when you think it's over, it's just like no, more, because I'm just like, this has taken way too much time, and then it's like, guess what? It's gonna take more time. It's my life. Big congrats on, I don't know if you're still there, Willie, but big congrats on the kid. I always like to hear that. Okay, this is more like it. We've got a goblin with a goblin launcher and a brawler with a boomerang. And we can go in and just turn on the final version for the full theatrics. So then we've got a warlock with a shield and that guy with a lightning sword. Yeah, that works. And yeah, nice populated, and they're watching the match. That's an arena. I feel like the placing could be a bit better. Like that guy feels a little bit low and to the right, and that guy feels more to the center. But we can work on that kind of detail as we go. Yeah, that is actually the case. So I'd want to change that for all of them. Let's just do that quickly, just while I spotted it. Oh, and we do have an issue of apparently one of these is not in the same position. Okay, because that one is actually over there in this one. Okay, good. Okay, so we ignore version 1. We go 2, 2, and 2 over here. It's a bit too high. We can kind of put him a bit more like this. And he's just sort of too central, and then this guy's too low. So 1, 1, and 1. Can just be a little bit higher up like that. And that should be natural enough. And that, and this should be bigger. I don't know how much bigger exactly, but let's just do it by eye. Yeah, that seems about right. Okay. But I think I can happily say we've done the arena. So I was hoping to get more of these done today. I think the fire's fine. It's sort of quite big and bombastic, but I think that kind of tracks. We want to get like the main thing done. The Squeal of Fortune for the final stage of the Goblin Trader. I think that is a good reference. I think that's a fun reference, and so we'll go ahead with that. And then Primal Forge, yeah, just like a kind of smoking teepee, bits of green and yeah, with the smoke coming out the top. Yeah, I do want to add. Did I put this down here somewhere? I want to add kind of tufts here. We also want smoke for Wizard Tower Chimney. Different coloured tufts, tents. Yeah, that's the thing I wanted to sort. So then we've got a fire pit, which should be fairly straightforward. I mean, these ones are easier. The fire pit will be animated. Big old fire. Grog bar, I've already figured it out. Yeah, big keg with a tap, and then it gets a bar put where the tap is, and then like a wider bar with like a lid, and then 2 kegs behind the bar. So then we've just got this big thing, and then the slop house. Just I want to make the stinkiest, yuckiest looking pile, and it just gets I've written down each step. Okay, that's tomorrow then. I'm not doing that today. I think today I wasted so much time making this bloody arena thing work. I really hope the effort is appreciated, and I hope I've learnt something in how to make this a bit more efficiently next time. So that will be it for today. Thank you so much for joining. It's a really good turnout today. Really appreciate it. Yeah, thanks so much. Really, really makes my day having all that. So appreciated. I will be back tomorrow. I think tomorrow morning I will schedule it shortly. So thanks very much. Cheers. Bye. That's not the button I want to press.